All right guys, so as you know, one of my strong suits is gonna be my back, and specifically more so my lats. Mechanics of it is really, really important. You have to understand your lats. Its primary function is internal rotation like this. Whenever you do any type of lat dominant movement, that's what you wanna be focusing on, is this motion, not necessarily just pulling down. I'm 5'4", my arm span is not that of a guy with that's 6'2", so there's absolutely no point for me to bring my hands all the way out here. All that's gonna really do is limit my range of motion. And I bring my hands in to about shoulder width, and that's going to allow me to have a better range of motion, and then also, instead of just come down, have that motion where I'm actually utilizing the mechanics of the lat. I prefer dumbbells over barbell. When you're a competitive bodybuilder, being symmetrical is incredibly important. So when you use a barbell, while I do like it for some movements such as a deadlift, it's going to neglect weaknesses such as imbalances in both your strength and size of both sides of your body. So I prefer dumbbell. Now when it comes to a dumbbell row, I prefer to just do it off a bench. I don't like to do it off of the actual dumbbell, whatever, where you pick it up, because people, you may be in someone's way, as simple as that. If you're standing up too much, then you're just gonna be hitting your traps. You wanna be pretty bent over when you do this, and I just like to use this for stability. Again, similar to the lat pull down, it's not necessarily about just rowing, it's you want to come here and then do a scooping motion, so down, up. It's not just this. When you actually row, a lot of people tend to hyperextend and go all the way down. All that's working is your obliques. You're not necessarily working your lats. So I like to just focus on coming here and then up, and that's it. Next, I'm gonna do another pull down variation. On all my back days, I always go back and forth between a pull down variation and a rowing motion. That's really the only two mechanical things you can do for your back. I'm gonna do behind the neck. I know these are a little controversial because it does kind of put your rotator cuffs into it. That being said, with the behind the neck pull downs, the goal isn't necessarily to go very low. The minute you go too low, that's when you hurt your rotator cuffs. In my opinion, with a pull down behind the neck, it's great for your upper back, kind of your lower trap area. So now we're starting to gear away from the lats into the mid upper back. I always train my back from bottom to top, other than my lower back, which I'll leave for last, because if you have a lower back pump, you can't do anything. So the first pull down variation was to activate and engage my lats, followed by a row. Now we're going to activate and engage my middle to upper back with this, and then go into a cable row, focusing on the mid to upper back. So since we did a neutral grip for the dumbbell rows, when we move on to either the cable or the machine row, I always like to do the opposite. So in this case, we're gonna do a wide grip overhand. If I was to do a barbell row, which is typically overhand or underhand, I would do a neutral grip machine or cable row. And I'm always going to you're gonna notice I always do the opposite. And the point of this is you want to train everything. Just simply focusing on one part of your back, or anything for that matter, is how you have an incomplete physique, and that's how you do poor, at least as a competitive bodybuilder. So with symmetry being one of my strong suits, this is how I do it. Final move is going to be the final pullover. So I like to do a back supported pullover. You can push and drive from the heels of your feet. And overall, it's just a badass move you should definitely try out.
Government for not using my
guys, so we're gonna go through Costco. I just kind of want to talk about what I like to choose from Costco if you have the option. Costco, in my opinion, is a lot cheaper and it's a lot more convenient because you buy in bulk. You should be meal prepping anyway, so you shouldn't be buying in small quantities anyway. So if you're gonna choose between these two, potatoes always be better than wheat. Wheat carries a lot of gluten. I'm pretty sure this still has gluten in it, but if you had a choice, I would much more rather you do the potato rolls. Plus, in my opinion, they taste better. When it comes to English muffins, I know these are like really heavily used. I don't like them that much. They're very calorically dense. If you're trying to put on size, I think these are great. But if you're trying to lose weight, these are terrible. One of them is easily, I mean, let's look. So just read the nutrition label. One of these is already 30 grams of carbs, and to me, this is so small, you're not getting any volume with it. Meanwhile, right next to it, these are actually fantastic. I like these a lot. It is gluten in it, but it's fine. It's 7 grams of fiber, so it makes kind of up to it. It's 10 grams of net carbs, 10 grams of protein, and it's whole wheat, and more importantly, multi-grain. So you'll see if you read the back, it's only, yeah, it's 10 grams of carbs. So this is a great option that's low calorie if you're looking to lose weight. Again, if you're trying to put on weight, which is opposite, I'd actually recommend that. But if you're trying to lose weight, which most people are right now, then don't. When it comes to wraps, I like that one. Now, the Carb Balance Mission ones, these also are sold at Costco. My issue with these is a lot of people have gut issues with this because the fiber on this is 17 grams. So with fiber being so high in this and a lot of it being insoluble fiber, it's not gonna sit very well in your stomach. You have soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Insoluble fiber in the body it hardens, and when it hardens, especially if you don't drink enough water, which most people don't, it's gonna cause a lot of gut issues and bloating. So there's kind of a threshold where, yes, I think fiber is good for you, but most people don't drink enough water to support 70 grams of fiber from one singular small wrap. So in the case of, if I had to choose between these two, I would actually say just the normal one is better, because if you read the macros on this, it's 25 grams of carbs. So yeah, it's a bit more carbs. This one's 70 calories, this one's 140. It's about double, but it's also bigger in size, the actual wrap. And at least you're not gonna have gut issues. If your stomach and your digestion isn't working properly, you're never gonna lose weight. It's your second brain. It's responsible for nutrient partitioning. Much rather you just get something that's not gonna bloat you. These, again, no go. I don't necessarily like those. When it comes to Wonder Bread, I mean, everyone knows it's a wonder that people eat them. Dave's Killer Bread is solid. This would be good for off season. I mean, I think it's a little overhyped. It's nothing crazy special. It's 22 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fiber. So okay, it's not bad at all. It's a little less calorie than most bread, so I guess that's why people like it. Now, my personal favorite when it comes to trying to diet is the 647 bread. I've gotten a lot of people onto this, and this is so versatile. I mean, you can make a sandwich, you can make French toast with it. There's so many things. This is 6 grams of fiber, 14 grams of carbs. So a big difference between this versus those wraps I just talked about that would cause you gut issues is this in general is only 13 grams of carbs. That one was a lot of carbs, and they compensated for it with very high fiber. With this only having 7 grams, that was double at least. You're not gonna have gut issues with this because it's already low carb. It's not compensating via fiber for that. And it's 0.5 grams of fat, 2 grams of protein. So this is 40 calories for one piece. And everything else is a no-go. Okay, so let's talk about potatoes. Now, a lot of people like sweet potato. They also think that sweet potato, for some reason, is the best potato you can eat. I disagree, especially from a caloric standpoint. Sweet potato is the most calorically dense potato you can consume. So if you're going for low calorie, just normal white potato is your best bet. It's the cheapest, and it still has fiber. So I personally just don't like sweet potato, period. But again, when it comes to potatoes, I think it's a great, very cheap carb option year-round. You get your fiber. I mean, there's so many you can do for breakfast, lunch, dinner. And it's super low calorie, definitely way less calories than pasta, bread, or rice. So potatoes are great. I like to grab these small ones because it's just easier to cook. $7, 70 calories for 5 of these. You know, 5 of these is a good amount. So yeah, I just like normal white potato, russet potato. I just think there's such a big misconception around the sweet potato that I kind of just want to quickly talk about. All right, so when it comes to protein sources, I do like ground turkey a lot. This is typically not the one I grab, but they're sold out of the one I usually grab. It's 93% lean, 7% fat. Now, I do want to say that if you cook this, it's not really going to be 93% lean because the fat's going to come off when you cook it. So you don't necessarily have to spend the extra money and get the 99% lean, because when you cook this, the fat is going to come off. So I think a lot of people spend a lot of money on getting the 99% lean. You can just simply get this one and it will come off when you cook it. It's not going to be exactly 99% lean, but it's going to be much leaner than the 93 that you see on the actual packaging. Another really good option that I really love is this sliced grass-fed beef sirloin. Now it's $12. You get 2 10 ounces, pre-cooked, pre-marinated. It's really good, honestly. This is my go-to. It's grass-fed, absolutely insane. This is probably by far the best thing Costco sells. I had that on a weekly basis. It's awesome. So this grass-fed beef slices, 100%, you should have that in your meal plan. When it comes to leucine content, which you have to understand, leucine is the amino acid responsible for muscle protein synthesis. It is highest in, first, believe it or not, chicken thigh, and second is red meat. So that's why you see a lot of bodybuilders eating a lot of red meat, because of the leucine content. All right, so I didn't record everything as I walked by, but kind of just want to take you through everything in my cart right now. So also added mushrooms in here. This one's open, whatever. We added mushrooms in. This is a free food. I pretty much just cook it up, saute it however much I want. We got this soda here. I've just been noticing a lot of companies lately doing this, where it's calorie free, included probiotics, which is really cool, and it's stevia based, so it's a natural plant that sweetens whatever you drink. So stevia isn't much better for you than artificial sweeteners. Again, it is a plant, so it's going to sit much better in you. My veggie source, I just get these frozen green beans. I literally pop them in the microwave, call it a day. And then also we grabbed here cod. Now, this is something I eat a lot of in prep. It is quite expensive, just to be transparent. This is not necessarily a necessity if you're trying to diet, but this is something I include because it's very low fat and very low calorie. And then I think that's really it. Oh, we got some eggs. I always get these brown free range eggs for the actual yolks, but when it comes to the egg whites, I'll grab the white whole eggs. I don't necessarily enjoy the carton ones just because they're highly processed. So carton egg whites, well, yes, it is a little bit more convenient. If you take 2 seconds to crack the actual egg, you're getting non-processed egg whites from that, and it's honestly way cheaper. So that's pretty much it. I also got these, which were kind of a fun find. They're egg which, turkey sausage, 12 grams of fat, 3 grams of carbs, 17 grams of protein, super low calorie, really good for my low carb days. So this is everything I got from Costco, some water, and this is how I diet, keep it healthy, whole food. You'll also notice that too, there's no supplements in here. You have to understand that whole food, it's going to take more on your body to digest that. So instead of eating protein shakes throughout the day to diet, your body's going to actually require more energy to digest and process this, which is good for you because you're trying to diet. So it's going to also help your metabolism by eating whole food.